The wealth gap in America doesn't start in adulthood. It actually starts from day one about what we were taught and what we weren't taught in order to make sure that we have financial stability and literacy throughout our careers. Today, we're talking about how one Cleveland entrepreneur is working to change that for the next generation. Welcome back, everybody, to the Speaking of Entrepreneurship podcast. I am your host, CP, and today I am so pumped to have our guest, Jason Lockett Sr. Jason is the founder and executive director of Breadwinners Academy. I just love that name, a Cleveland-based nonprofit that is transforming how young people learn about money, entrepreneurship, and wealth building. Jason, I am so excited to have you here with me today because this conversation is one of those topics that I think too often, especially in so many communities, especially underserved minority communities, I mean, just really all communities, we just don't have those conversations. And I know in my family, they didn't have that conversation. I had to kind of figure it out for myself. And you are doing so much in our community to change that. So thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to pick your brain.
Thanks for having me. That intro was amazing. It was fire. So I appreciate that.
Welcome. So we get to dive in. We got so much to unpack today, but I got to start with, why? Like, when did this, brainchild of yours, the Breadwinners Academy, come into your soul? Like, what was the download that you received? Because it's definitely got to be a divine, purpose-driven download that you received. What did you see that was happening in the community, or what was your experience that made you get it started? And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes. So the experience itself was insane. I graduated college with a degree in marketing, but zero financial sense.
Where'd you go?
Notre Dame College.
Okay.
Right down the road.
Yeah.
And I wanted to buy a car. Of course. Right? So I went to Crestmont Cadillac and I tried to buy a car. Back then, they used to put the amounts, your monthly payment on the windshield.
Yes.
So I saw $400. I said, I can swing that. I was 6 months out of college, got my first job, still in debt. I didn't mind. I said, you know what? I'm getting that car. I just wanted to go back up to the college campus and show everybody that I was doing
You just wanted to drive up in a caddy. Right.
No financial sense. But of course, I think a car is like a symbol, it's a status for you to show everybody else that you're doing okay.
Right.
And I went through the entire car buying process. The gentleman, he was such an amazing guy because as I was going through the process, he asked me, do I like the car, the normal sales stuff? And I'm like, yes, I want it. Yes, I want it. Yes, I want it. And when we got to the part, how's your credit? I said, it's cool. I had no idea, right? I'm like, it's cool. I have a job. So
it's got to be good.
Yeah, it has to be solid.
Yeah.
So fast forward, we do the credit pull, and my score was in like the high 400s. And he said, okay, let's have this conversation. And him and I sat there for hours until about 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And he actually talked me out of buying a car.
Yeah.
Because I could have been approved. Well, I was approved, but it was at an interest rate of 24.99%.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, okay, this payment from $400 now ballooned to about $650, $700.
Right.
And I still would have done it, but he talked me out of it, explained it to me that the car is not going to be worth anything by the time you're done paying for it. Two, if this car breaks down, it's way out your budget anyway because it's almost double than what's on the windshield. So we went through this process of going through getting your annual credit report, and I started learning about budgeting, learning about saving, learning about investing. And throughout this process, I fell in love with finance. But the one moment for me is being vulnerable around my family and friends and having these conversations because, like you said before, growing up, it was a no-no to talk about money.
Absolutely not. Unless you were talking about it not growing on trees. That was the only conversation that was allowed in my house.
Right.
Yeah.
So by us, especially where we come from, my parents are great, amazing people, but they didn't know. So if you can't teach what you don't know.
Yeah.
And as I'm going through this process, I fell in love with finance. And I said, wow. But with me being vulnerable with my family and friends, I quickly realized that my story wasn't like special or unique. It was so common for a lot of us that are first gens that graduate from college. We call ourselves the Pell Grant crew because we all had the Pell Grant.
Yes, we all did. Yes.
So shouts out to the Pell Grant.
That's so funny. My daughter asked me just yesterday because she's applying for an internship overseas, and she goes, "Do I get a Pell Grant? Do I have a Pell Grant? Because it says that if I have a Pell Grant." I'm like, "No, honey, you don't. You don't have one.
No, you don't want what comes experience with the pay.
You don't have one.
But yes, so with us having these conversations, that's when I fell in love with finance. But I still wasn't ready to go down that path. So I ended up getting my master's in finance from Ashland University. And then I got my certificate in finance from certificate in financial planning from Howard University. And I started helping not only myself, but my friends and family about credit, about budgeting and things of that nature. And then we turned 4 in June, and this is when Breadwinners was created. One of my good friends, Dr. Carmen, she invited me to come teach at Cleveland Heights High School. And she wanted me to come teach them about credit. And I avoided her for weeks. I didn't want to do it. I'm thinking about my son, his friends.
They're not going to listen.
They're not going to listen.
They're going to be looking at me. They're going to be all glazed over.
Who is this guy,
Yeah,
right? And then I've never been in a classroom before. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I didn't want to do it, but I end up going. And I had such an amazing experience with those students. And what's interesting is that they're all graduating college this year.
Were they open to what you were saying?
Yes.
Were they sponging it up?
Asking a lot of questions about credit cards, about secure credit cards. Why do I have to put down a deposit? If I get a credit card with a $1,000 limit, can I use the whole $1,000 to pay it off? I'm thinking yes, but no.
Yes. I mean, I think that you're absolutely right about this generation, because I have a 16-year-old as well. And I've got, lots of kids, but my youngest is 16. And I find that him and my second oldest daughter, who's 20, she'll be 21 in May. Well, actually, he just turned 17. I can't believe I keep calling, he turned 17 yesterday. So I keep calling him 16. But they have a different mindset around empowering themselves at a very young age around finances and around money. They ask a ton of questions. They don't really know what cash is. They definitely don't know what a coin looks like, but they are definitely more into keeping track of things and being conscious of it and being interested in wealth creation. What do you think has to do with that? I mean, what do you think is motivating them? Is it because of us? Are we being more open, or?
I think it is. Our generation definitely shifted that tide and making these conversations well known and exposing our kids to the good and to the bad.
Yeah.
But also, they also have social media too.
They have social media.
So they see a lot.
They do.
And
because I know I see a lot. Yeah, a lot of folks out there, that are financial folks talking about it. So
yes, you have to be careful. But
yes, you do have to be careful.
Yes.
Or we're going to all build trusts and then.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they are also seeing like the influencers, and they're seeing all of these marketing ads and things of that nature, which could be good and could be bad. But they're seeing it, so they're asking a lot of questions. And these kids, their wants are a lot more than what ours were.
Yeah.
So just going through this process with our kids and going from teaching just a class here, a class there, to building out a curriculum. Then one day, Dr. Carmen and I were sitting doing an adult workshop, and she said, "You should start a nonprofit." And I'm thinking, no way, because I didn't have any experience running a nonprofit. I had no experience in education. But I'm the type that I don't need all my ducks in a row for me to get started. I'm just going to pick up what I can. I'm
the entrepreneur in you.
I'm going to keep marching.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I went from being in one school here, 2 schools there. We're in 16 now.
Wow.
And we instruct from 5th grade all the way up throughout college.
That's amazing. And tell me a little bit more about the curriculum. Like, what do you focus on? What do you find? Like, where do you start? Like, to get people kind of into it, and then kind of where do they ultimately end up at the end of that curriculum? Because you found obviously that these are real specific strategic things that people must learn in order to be empowered.
Yes, everything is built for the now and for their next stage in life.
Okay.
Of course, estate planning, life insurance, that is extremely important, but you're going to lose a 16-year-old talking about those things.
Definitely estate planning. They're not even thinking about that.
No, let's focus on the now. Then also you have to meet these kids or these students where they are. With us primarily serving CMSD in the first ring suburbs, the conversations are different. The curriculum is different. The lesson plans are different because we're going to bring real life into the classroom. So our curriculum is project-based, and all our students will create a short-term financial plan. And I pretty much modeled this after the CFP process that I went through. And you're literally going through a journey. So one of our programs is called It's Lit. And It's Lit is a financial literacy experience. And our students go through the journey of their very first paycheck.
Oh,
and
wow.
We've all been there before. You get your paycheck.
When FICA comes out.
Yes. What is this,
My
right?
dad, this is his favorite story to tell people. And he brought it up. I just had my 50th birthday party, and it was like, 100 and some people there. And people were able to come up and speak. And they handed my dad the mic, and he goes, "I just want to tell you about the first time she got her first paycheck." And he's laughing in between the whole conversation. He's like, can't even get the story out. He's told the story a million times that how I called him after I got my first paycheck, and I called him from the parking lot, and I was like hysterically crying, and I'm like, who is FICA?
Yes, it's real.
Who is FICA? He said he was cracking up, and he still tells the story. It's very embarrassing, actually.
But it happens to all of us because we think, okay, if I work 40 hours for this pay period, I get $10 an hour, my check's going to be $400. And since a lot of us don't come for money, so that money's already spent.
Yes.
It's already allocated to something.
Yes.
But now it's not that, and now you have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Oh my God, yeah, it's not a great experience at all.
I love that you start kids in high school understanding from that journey, from that first paycheck, and then what they can do in order to begin to build, that wealth and even that savings as they look at feeling like it's possible for them to go to that next level. Because I think for me, just not having that when I was growing up, sometimes the idea, although I was very blessed to be able to go to college and go on to graduate school and all of those things because I was able to get scholarships, but without those scholarships, I don't think that the concept of even having enough money to dream of that being a possibility would have even been there. But I feel like what you're teaching them is that you do have power to impact how much money you have. And even if you're not looking at saving enough to pay your tuition, because college is like crazy expensive, enough to cover your living expenses, to be able to, get some pizza, or that kind of a thing. I love that they're starting them in high school with that concept, because no one talked to me and it did seem impossible.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
And exposure for us is everything.
Yes.
So not only do our students create bank accounts, they open up brokerage accounts through our partner Fidelity. And we take field trips to banks, to community centers, and our students get to see this in action.
I love
which
it.
is super important because, just like as a parent, you hear that voice and it's like, okay, I've heard it enough. But now you're hearing it from someone else. They're like, oh my God, I guess this is true.
I guess it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Because your parents don't know anything when you're 15, 16, or 17.
Oh no, you know the world at that age for sure.
Don't. Yes, they don't. We don't know anything. I'm just sitting there nodding my head. I've got 6, so by the time this youngest one tells me I don't know anything, I'm like, exactly.
Yeah. Oh wow,
Perfect.
You have 6. I'm the youngest of 6. So
are you?
Yep,
so he's the youngest of 6.
I'm the baby.
Yes, he's the baby. Well, he is. He's 17 now. He's no longer the baby.
Oh
but,
wow.
So his life and what he thinks of. But he is actually very involved, thinking about majoring in finance in college and in marketing. He definitely wants to go into business, and he's thinking about finance. He loves money, and his older brother, I think, was a big influence because his older brother works in mortgages, and he's a senior loan officer, and so he deals with people, helping people with their credit and stuff like that all the time. So he's very inspired. But listening to what you're saying, my sons wouldn't have that if they, weren't automatically involved with helping one another kind of navigate that. And so you being able to bring that to so many youth where their parents may not, have even thought of, because they didn't know what they don't know, to be able to kind of equip them with Fidelity accounts in high school and getting their first checking account and all that kind of stuff. I love it.
I wish I'd known about compound interest when I was their age. Oh my God. My God.
Yes. Yes.
We always start with a debate. Do you think you can make money in your sleep? And I get a whole bunch of no's and some yeses. And I'll ask how so, and they'll say, well, you start a business and you do this and you do that. I say, well, what about in the next 30 days? Do you think you can? And they'll say no. And then I'll introduce them to what compound interest is, how it works. And ultimately, the goal is for your money to work for you. That's the goal. And then we break down numbers too. I ask them, what's the average age millionaire? They'll say 19, 20. I'm like, geez, Louise, I am far behind if that's the case. But
They think that.
It's 61, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And then we talk about Roth IRAs. Well, what is a Roth? It's tax-free money when you retire.
Yes.
And especially for us, introducing delayed gratification is so important, but it's so sensitive because we have like the scarcity mindset. So we have to, there's layers to this. But what we do different in our classrooms is that we're super engaged with the students, and we play a lot of games depending on the age group. Like our middle school kids, it's all through gamification because oftentimes we get them after school, so they're all over the place,
and they're tired, and they're hungry, and they're
we bring
over it.
Snacks.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Chick-fil-A is the go-to.
Oh, yes.
So we start with Chick-fil-A and do a Kahoot.
You're gonna get them all in with Chick-fil-A.
They love you. Yeah, they love us after that. and then we introduce some of our concepts with them, and that's how we break the ice. We create this bridge, and we definitely get them to think how we want them to think.
I love it. So, I mean, you're both an entrepreneur and an educator, obviously. What do you wish that more young people understood about entrepreneurship as a pathway to kind of building wealth?
I think everyone definitely should at least take an entrepreneurship class or take, not major in it, but definitely really invest in it because all the transferable skills.
Right.
Tons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of transferable skills, but when it comes to specific in finance, it's investing because you're investing a lot of your time and your own money into it and put in the needs of like your organization first and from an entrepreneurship perspective, but putting your future and your retirement first when it comes to finance. So the correlation is very strong and it's definitely needed. So I make all our students go through entrepreneurship because they need to know what it's like. And also being a leader is a huge part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that's going to transfer wherever you go. I don't care if you go into automotive, if you go into engineering, you want to be a leader in whatever space that you're in.
And being able to have, I think, more control and influence over your earnings, right? Because I mean, you can, if you have that entrepreneurial skill set, whether you are deciding to go into it all in and do nothing else but that, or if you want to have it, as a side hustle in order for you to be able to supplement or grow your wealth even faster and use all of that as investment, mechanism, because sometimes you can work for someone else and you can't always influence or impact whether your salary goes up, whether it goes down, or whether you even have one, right? Because they can just lay you off at any moment. But I remember, I always tell folks, my first business was a side gig as I was still kind of working my way up the corporate ladder because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And 100% of the money that I made in my side gig, I used to save up for my first home. And so I was able to get my first home under the age of 30 because I had that entrepreneurial piece on the side. And at the time, my brain hadn't wrapped itself around actually doing that full time, even though now I can't imagine ever working for anybody else again. But the point is, at that point, the whole goal was I can use these skills that I have, monetize them on the side, and everything that I make from that, I can save it up for my first home. And so I agree with you that whether, as a young person, being able to engage and understand that that's even a possibility, because for me, I didn't even realize that was a thing. There were no entrepreneurs in my family. I had nurses and folks who worked at Lordstown, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so to me, it was like, wow, this is a concept. And I always had that on the side, the ability to grab a couple clients, get some contracts, make some extra money in order to be able to start investing and start doing things. And so it was always, great. And then eventually I just said, I'm going all in because I'm not playing over here in this corporate thing anymore. But yes, absolutely.
Same.
yes, absolutely.
Same.
Absolutely.
Same. You have to take the risk.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a calculated risk, but you'll never know.
A strategic risk.
My thing is, I'd rather suffer defeat than live with regret.
Oh, I love that.
So for me, it's go for it.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't work, go back inside, figure out what went wrong, then take your behind back out there and do it again until you get it right. And I got that from my parents. And my parents, of course, they had ambition, they had goals, they wanted to do all these things, but they also had 6 kids. So they had to sacrifice.
You ain't got to tell me. You ain't got to tell me. Your parents and I are on the same level for sure. Yes. So when you're working with students or families, what are you finding are the biggest financial mistakes that you're seeing, or misconceptions that you see that you're kind of trying to address and obviously infuse throughout your curriculum and your development and what you're actually putting the kids through your program?
Yeah. One is spending before you save. Is so important, but that's the biggest thing, is spending before you save is the biggest one that we see. And also with our students is getting them out of the mindset that materials equals success, because it doesn't. It does not. I tell them money talks, but wealth whispers. People that are rich and wealthy, you don't see them doing they don't want to be seen like in that light.
Because they like money. Yes. They like having money.
They do.
Yes.
And I said it's different for athletes and entertainers because they are in the light. And most of the stuff they get on a severe discount or either free because they're promoting it. But for the everyday people or for the people that's not like that, no. You don't want to be seen. If you go out into like the really affluent neighborhoods, they're not driving Maybachs and all of those things. No. It's stupid.
They have a good car with some heated seats, maybe.
They're driving a Subaru. Like when I tell people, if you see someone driving a Subaru, I bet they have $1 million in their 401k.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. For sure. I love that. So just spending before you save is the biggest thing. What are you seeing? A lot of folks now considering the concept that's out there around Social Security and not being there anymore, and it may not be being there by the time our Gen Z or even Gen X retires. So are you seeing a lot of folks kind of experiencing that fear, listening to that and preparing for that? Or do you see people still out there just saying, no, I'm not going to prepare for retirement. I'm just going to go ahead and take my chances with Social Security?
No, I see a lot of people preparing for it.
Okay, good.
And
good,
I love it.
Good. Thank God.
I love it. Even if it's a misconception, if it happens or not happen, I said, no, you want multiple streams when you retire. When you walk away, you do.
You do.
And depending on what age, where you are, age-wise, oh my God, let's talk about this Roth IRA.
Yeah.
And let's talk about these things.
Some annuities. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because my dad and mom, they're boomers, and they literally plowed into us that you were supposed to go work somewhere for 45 years and get a pension.
Yep.
Because pensions were a thing, and people worked for those pensions for someone to say, give me 40 years of your life and I'll make sure that you're okay for the rest of your life. Even though that okay might be $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And so I do, having been a caregiver for both of my parents and eventually having to take over their financials, recognizing and realizing, wow, that was pounded into me. I thought that was law. And then taking over their finances and realizing now I have to supplement both of their incomes. And before my dad passed away, and with my mom now, because that's not even a thing. Like, that was not real. That was not true for them. And just relying on those pensions or that Social Security was just changing. It's changed so significantly. So now it's like, yeah, you got to make sure that you're preparing for that retirement. And I love that you're teaching kids that in middle school.
Yes. The earlier, the better.
I love that.
Because in middle school, you're so impressionable. And you can be swayed in so many different directions. So we start them early.
Yes.
We do.
I need to try to figure out a way to get my son in one of your programs. But you're not in his school, I'm sure, because you mentioned first ring suburbs, but he would probably love it. And then he'd come home and be able to school the rest of us.
What school does he go to?
He goes to Brecksville Broadview Heights.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll send you over our information about our summer program.
Yeah.
It's at John Carroll University.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, that would be perfect. He's a football player too. He's a varsity football player.
Nice.
So depending upon when it is, because when football starts, I can't get him to do anything.
Of course. I know how it was playing sports in high school, yes.
He's like, I can't do anything, Mom, but eat and go to play football and go to sleep. But financial literacy, he would probably love the program because it has become a passion for him as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what would you say differentiates, Breadwinners Academy from traditional financial literacy programs that are out there for youth? I've heard already some of the stuff that you do that I think is different, but you would definitely know more about the market. What is the differentiator?
Wow, that's a really good question. And there's a lot that's out there, and no knock to anyone that's doing this work. I think collectively we all need to do the work and collaboratively as well. But for us, the biggest difference, I think it's our people.
Okay.
It's our team, because our team literally, we are in the classroom. We're not hiding behind a curriculum through online platform. We're not doing this virtually. We are on feet, is what my kids say, in the classroom doing the work Monday through Friday.
I love it.
Outside, in addition to us being project-based, we move way beyond theory. So depending on the program in the school, every student opens up a bank account through us. And it's through one of our partners, either Erie Bank, Chase Bank, or Bank of America. Every student has access to the Fidelity brokerage account.
I love that.
So when we are, like, for example, one of our programs, we always start with budgeting. So how to create a budget at 18. And then we go to how to build credit at 18, how to start investing at 18. We bring in our insurance partners from State Farm and Nationwide, so we can talk about all these things. So we bring the real life into the classroom, and then we roll them into our summer program where they make a little over $2,000 over the course of 6 weeks while they're with us. It's like the ultimate earn and learn opportunity for our students. And we assist them with buying cars. We're going massive field trips. We actually go into banks, into financial centers, so they can actually hear the people and see them face to face. One of the big goals is transitioning away from some of the peer-to-peer payment apps, and we want our students to build relationships with banks. Because as you know, if you have that relationship, oh man.
And you don't even have to go to the bank when you have a relationship. Like, you can just call somebody and be like, I need to do this. They're like, all right, I'll send it to you. I love it. The last time I had to go in the bank, it was because my banker retired, and I was devastated. I literally said, I'm rooting for you in your retirement, but I'm not feeling like I want to break up right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, but he did do a great job at introducing me to the next relationship banker. But I've been in business for myself for a little over 25 years, and he had been my banker for probably 19 of those years. So, I mean, I invited him to Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that. I knew his wife and his kids. So you are absolutely right having that relationship. And I think that the brokerage account piece, I'm going to literally say right now, please send me the information, because I'm going to take my 16-year-old's financial literacy that was on my list of things to do and delegate it entirely to you, because he was going to drive me crazy and not listen to me anyway. So I love it. Oh, so where can everybody find you? Find out more information about the summer program, or even if your program is available for their children through their schools. Where should they go? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok?
Yes.
Web, all the places.
Primarily our website.
Okay.
It's breadwinnersacademy.org, but you can follow us on all of our socials. It's Breadwinners Academy.
Okay.
And we have all of our information there.
What's the one thing that you want to say to anyone right now who is in a space, whether they are young or, older? What's the one piece of information that you want them to walk away with that says they have to do this one thing in order to ensure success financially later in life?
Wow. One thing? That's tough.
Or two. You can give me more than one. You can give me more than one.
I'll say save before you spend.
Okay.
And, save before you spend is one. And start investing early.
Oh, I love that. We didn't even get a chance to get into some of the other questions I had around Bitcoin and all this new stuff. But we'll have to do a whole nother episode on that, because I can't keep you forever.
That works.
It's been amazing, though. It's been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. And honestly, thank you for taking on the responsibility of ensuring that our young people are equipped for the future, financial future, because it is crazy out here nowadays in these streets. And I think that empowering, I'm all about clarity and having power through information, and knowing that there's a program like this locally that our young people can tap into just makes me feel really good. And
thank you. I truly appreciate that.
Yes.
That definitely keeps our fire ignited. And it's certainly a blessing. I never thought that this would be my path in life. It's interesting. When I found Breadwinners is where I found my why.
Wow.
And never thought that this would be the route, but I don't question it.
And even if you were devastated at that Cadillac dealership, now you know that life happens for you and not to you. Because there was a reason why you didn't get that car. Because it kind of sparked this entire just journey and purpose-driven life.
Yes, it certainly did.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. So there you guys have it. Doing big things for financial literacy for our young people in Cleveland, Ohio. You have to check out Jason and Breadwinners Academy. My thoughts, my juices are flowing. Hopefully you guys got some great insight. Don't forget to remember, you have to save before you spend. If there's one thing you take away, that's what I want it to be. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Mwah!